Hey guys,
Hey guys.
welcome to Seeding Media. Colby and I, as well as the rest of us Americans, are living in Trump's America.
Unfortunately we are. We're going to give it a little bit of time just for people to start trickling in. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about. As for big news, we'll be going over it throughout the stream. We have a lot that we're going to touch on today, such as Trump's recent changes. He's really done a damage to our system in the last just week. It feels like every week that we sign on as of late is just 50 new things for us to go over.
It's just bad news, but we did actually hear about some good news. Maybe we should talk about that later on in the stream.
Yeah, I can't think of a much better time than right now. I'm really happy with our recent progress. So David and I don't know if you guys saw the newest video, but we just did that 5051 Orlando video, and as well with a amazing interview with Jason Kravitz, both of which went absolutely incredible. And thank you guys so much for the support on the 5051 protest video. Really helps us out whenever we see support like that. It just lets us know that we're doing the right thing, and all the subscribes lately and everything, we really appreciate it.
The comments on that video were great. It really made me feel good about working on that video.
Absolutely. Sorry guys, I'm just making a blue sky post. Boom.
Yeah, so we've
definitely follow us on Blue Sky, by the way.
Yeah,
get the live stream up there.
Yeah, let me get that up there.
But yeah, we're about to pull up the chat as well. Can't we actually pull up the chat in OBS?
We can. This is easier though.
Okay. Well, I just mean so other people can see it, but yeah. So let's go ahead and get to it, I think.
So we had a busy week with the 5051 protest. That was a ton of fun. If you guys haven't seen the video, check it out. We also got to speak with Jason Kravitz, who was the author of the Project 2025 song. That was a great video, great interview, and he's such a cool guy. And if you guys haven't seen the Project 2025 video or the Project 2025 song yet, go check it out. It definitely hits a little different after the election, but a really good video, really good song nonetheless.
Yeah, and if anything, that song can really show you a lot. It really shows you the things that we were laughing at months ago, the things that our conservative friends would tell us isn't possible,
right,
are now the things that we have happening all around us. I don't want to get right into world news, but I suppose the most relevant thing is, for years, we in America, since 2016, we've been really worried about Russian interference inside our elections, and Russia interference with...
is this our first topic?
with Putin. And, for years we got told that liberals were losing their mind on that issue. Despite all of the documentation that came out of the cases. I actually cannot remember the case name off the top of my head.
Are you talking about the Mueller indictment?
Mueller indictment,
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, the Mueller indictment. It reads so clearly. It's literally like, so he went to Moscow and he met with Putin multiple times. And, I can't tell you for how long we heard that, it's totally ridiculous. And there's no shot that Trump's working with Russia, and you guys just continue to peddle this false narrative. And now you look at the world stage and it's like, man, not only are you working with Russia, right? But you're openly doing it. And if he wanted to, he could behind closed doors trade funds with Putin and Trump coin, but he's not doing that because he knows he doesn't have to.
Yeah, it is really sad. For anyone that doesn't know that Trump has basically said that Ukraine has started the war, and he's essentially, by saying that, siding with Putin. And it's so bad that Mike Pence actually had to go out and tweet and say that Russia started the war.
On that, why don't we go ahead and show you so we're not just talking about it.
President Donald Trump defending the mass firings of government workers, including hundreds from the National Nuclear Security Administration. Meanwhile, he falsely claims that Ukraine started the war with Russia. Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand in studio now with more of an overview of Trump's latest actions. Jory.
Yeah, Mark, this president has always had a, let's say, spotty relationship with the truth. But this one today left people in America, all over Europe, and of course in Ukraine aghast, especially because the president said it was Russia continuing its murder campaign in Ukraine, said it was Ukraine's fault, and it was Trump himself now who was blocking Ukraine from the negotiations. Tonight, as President Trump continues to cause chaos throughout the government, he's now working with Russia to end their war against Ukraine. Trump sending 3 envoys to Saudi Arabia to negotiate directly with the Russians.
We couldn't have imagined a better result after this session.
Today is the first step of a long and difficult journey, but an important one.
But Trump leaving Ukraine out of the negotiations and today blaming them for starting the war by not...
I won't interrupt for too long on this front, but this is important. Hey, welcome in, LB Crocodile. Yeah, no joke. Boo.
Yeah.
It's terrible. The last time, you guys may have heard me say this on the channel, but the last time we really saw this was in World War II with Czechoslovakia. You know, Czechoslovakia was one of the first places targeted by Nazi Germany whenever they first started expanding. It was pretty much right after Poland, I believe. And I could be wrong on that, though. But basically, they said, we want Czechoslovakia. And the U.S. came up and we said, hey, we're willing to do this little thing called appeasement. And basically during appeasement, we decided to not have Czechoslovakia at the peace deal, and we gave away their entire country to the Nazis. We did that multiple times as well, slowly allowing the Nazis to accrue more and more and more power. So all this to say, the last time we saw foreign policy this bad was literally with the Nazis. Which is, pretty shocking. You know what I mean? The last time our foreign policy that was this bad, it led to a world war.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really, really funny. I can't imagine being a Trump supporter right now. And, on the campaign trail, Trump, all he could say was, I'm going to end the war in Ukraine on day one. And, I mean, now we're, 4 weeks in? And now he's just openly admitting that he sides with Putin. I don't know what's going through the mind of a Trump supporter, to be honest. But to me, I mean, that's the biggest red flag.
Yeah. And again, all this to say, the reason that I initially paused it right there is he's peddling Putin's misinformation. It can't be much more clear. Again, Putin has returned the favor and talked about how our previous election might have been falsified, and it's because both of them are willing to lie to build each other's credibility. And it only works if you have credibility in one of them. So you're saying I don't understand how conservatives are, really who they are right now, and it's just because they have so much credibility in one of the sides, right? They believe the dictator talk, they believe the propaganda, and that's a real problem. Because it's not Ukraine's fault that this war started,
And on that, I think this kind of transitions us into our next subject. Maybe you didn't want to jump into this too soon, but go back to it. The AP sues Trump, 3 Trump administration officials citing freedom of speech. So, I mean, if the title's anything to go up by, it seems like the Trump administration is trying to silence news organizations that publish bad things.
Citing freedom of speech and asking a federal judge to stop the blocking of its journalist.
Yeah, so I mean,
It's in the leading brand because we believe all feet.
I mean, the way that Putin controls the media in Russia is
through an iron fist.
Yeah, I mean, so let's watch the video and see what we can gather.
I was gonna finish this little one. We only got a minute left.
Oh my God!
Handing over their land before Russia invaded.
And I think I have the power to end this war, and I think it's going very well. But today I heard, we weren't invited. Well,
you have the power to give away the land. That's not ending the war. It's the same thing that you did in Israel and Palestine. It doesn't mean anything if by ending the war you mean give the aggressor everything they were originally asking for. Congratulations, a chimpanzee could have made that deal.
You've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal.
This is considered a major...
I'm sorry. The only deal Ukraine has ever had on the table in the lifetime of this war is you give us your country, none of your civilians get to leave, and Russia becomes your government, and you're not allowed to have a military anymore.
Well, I mean, what's really crazy about this is that Ukraine actually gave their nukes.
Oh yeah. They think they surrendered all of them.
Yeah,
right?
they gave up their nukes to try to stop Russia from invading them. In 1994, Ukraine agreed to transfer these weapons to Russia for dismantlement and became a party to the Treaty on Non-Proliferation.
Hey, thanks for rolling into the stream, guys. If you have any questions or anything is popping out to you, feel free to put them into the chat, and David and I will try to address them the best we can.
Yeah, let's see. Years later, Russia, one of the parties to the agreement, invaded Ukraine. Yeah, so Ukraine was basically like, hey, here's all our nukes. Don't invade us. And then what happened?
It's also because, I bet this Wikipedia article actually goes into it, because originally Ukraine really wanted to join NATO really, really badly, right? And the U.S. was pretty okay with it, but that would also mean that we'd get to store nukes there. And I believe we did put nukes there. And Russia got incredibly nervous, so we were like, okay, we'll pull them out. If you're familiar with like the Turkey missile situation, it's very similar. And then we pulled the missiles out of Ukraine, and they never pulled their armies. Ukraine's never been a part of NATO, I don't think.
I thought there were talks of
accepting them.
Yeah, and then Trump was disagreeing with them.
It's been in talks for the last 8 years whether or not NATO will accept Ukraine.
Trump does not support NATO membership for Ukraine. So that kind of tells you something.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you want me to give you my real opinion, NATO started to fail as a premise whenever we allowed Russia to join. It's the anti-Russia meeting. It's supposed to stop Russia imperialism, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't.
I mean, it doesn't when Trump is like, "Go ahead, man. Ukraine started the war."
Well, and the scariest part about this, and this is what you guys at home should be thinking about too, is this is one war that has killed a lot of people, led to a lot of grapes. Really terrible stuff happening to the Ukrainian people, their whole place becoming leveled and everything else. But the scary thing is also like, what does this signal to the world stage, right? Like, what do you think China's going to think when they go, oh, well, the U.S. isn't willing to fight back. The U.S. isn't willing to support their allies. If the war gets too dicey, they'll just back off. Well, that means Taiwan's free.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that means Taiwan is. I mean, it's time. And like, where do you think we get all the lithium and the stuff that we use for our electronics? A lot of it's from Taiwan.
That wouldn't be lithium. It's actually more important than that to a degree. It's the microchips in your computers. Wow. So they have manufacturing plants there, and they're these fab machines that are insanely expensive and complicated.
I'm curious.
Come from TSMC.
TSMC?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, again, guys, it's like, that's how the U.S. is where we are. And it's not just through things like that. I know we're sort of bouncing around a little bit, but it's also through things like U.S. aid.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not realize this, but if anyone's listening in the chat, feel free to put your hand up, or just put a me if you already knew this, or if you didn't know, just let us know. But I'll tell you, the crazy thing is about oh god, I just blinked. Oh Lord, I was talking about Oh my god.
Oh no, I'm sorry, man. I can't even save you. We're talking
No.
about the chip manufacturing.
The USAID stuff. Yeah.
The USAID stuff.
So yeah, the thing is with this is USAID is responsible for a whole lot, and really USAID is sometimes seen as the US's footprint in the world. And you want a good footprint. You want to be able to go to a different country and you make an impact with the relief that you're doing, right? So for example, in Africa, if US isn't giving the Zika medication, or they're not giving Ebola medication, or they're not giving the HIV medications, another country will.
And it'll probably be China.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to start accepting all these powers, and then what's going to happen? And I can't even blame these other countries, right? Imagine you're in their position. It's like, shit, do we even want to put our eggs in the basket of the US, who every 4 years might just drop us completely? Mm-hmm. You can't blame them. I mean, say what you will about China, but at least they're probably going to back you for economic reasons. You might get a slightly worse deal than sometimes you get with the Democrats, but at least you have a consistent deal. Where people aren't dying,
Yeah. So I mean, if you're a lot of these electronics that are the chips are made in Taiwan, they're assembled in China.
Right.
Like all your iPhones, a lot of your computers, all of that is assembled in China, and so you're probably going to see a pretty big price hike on your electronics.
Well, yeah, especially since the Chinese tariffs are one of the few things that didn't get stopped, right? Oh, and speaking of tariffs, now Trump says that he's not stopping his tariffs on Canada. Trump tariffs.
Sorry for the yawn.
Yeah, dude, it's only almost 11 o'clock. Get with it. Yeah, Trump says that the tariffs on Canada and Mexico will go forward. And again, guys, Canada is responsible for everything from metal to raw oil, and a lot of our raw oil, by the way. I believe Canada is responsible for 50-some%.
I thought they had a dam that we get power from as well, right? Or did I just make that up?
You might not be wrong.
That's the AI overview. Don't read that shit. That's an AI overview again.
Wait, is it? No,
yeah.
not.
It says AI overview.
Oh, wow. Google has just become ruined.
Yeah, Google is just ruined.
According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, Canada's crude oil exports to the U.S. amounted for 24% of the U.S. oil refinery in 2023. So yeah, 24% of your oil. Who here thinks that's going to make your gas cheaper to put, what did he say, a 25% tariff on those existing markets? I mean, again, it's just like the egg pricing stuff. Things are going to get worse. They are not going to get better. And it's not just, how did Trump put it, temporary patriotic economic pain for long-term economic prosperity. Here's the thing. We've seen it for years. Trickle down economics. It doesn't trickle down. It doesn't. Mm-hmm. The billionaires just keep all the money, and when you have an administration that is funneling all the money to the billionaire class, I mean, you can expect that nothing is going to go good for normal people like you and I watching. Sorry for getting kind of massively sidetracked. Let's go ahead and see what Trump is saying about suing the media now.
Yeah, it looks like AP is suing the 3 Trump administration officials.
Gotcha. Let's see.
Associated Press sued 3 Trump administration officials Friday over access to presidential events, citing freedom of speech and asking a federal judge to stop the blocking of its journalists. The AP says its case is about an unconstitutional effort by the White House to control speech, in this case, refusing to change its style from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, as President Donald Trump did last month with an executive order. In the lawsuit, the AP said the press and all people in the United States have the right to choose their own words and not be retaliated against by the government. The lawsuit named White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Deputy Chief of Staff Taylor Budowich, and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. AP added that this targeted attack on the AP's editorial independence and ability to gather and report the news strikes at the very core of the First Amendment. In stopping the AP from attending press events at the White House and Mar-a-Lago or flying on Air Force One in the agency's customary spot, the Trump team directly cited the AP's decision not to fully follow the name change.
Essentially, it's primarily the Associated Press, and I don't know what they're doing, but I just say that we're going to keep them out until such time as they agree that it's the Gulf of Mexico.
You don't even have the right to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, I was going to say, what the hell is Trump doing in Palm Beach, Florida? Why is bro not in the... Yeah, go for it, man. Why is bro not... Why is he not in Washington? What's he doing? Golfing a lot?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if you've seen... This is something I really don't like coming at presidents for. If you want to take a weekend, bro, I mean, I kind of get it, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, he's just been at Mar-a-Lago. You know, Mar-a-Lago is the new White House. That's disgusting to me. It stands against what our country represents so much. And I feel like Trump, during his first administration, kind of did that because he only like halfway lived at the White House. But now he's not even keeping up that illusion, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he declared himself king. One thing I did want to talk about, did you want to go any further into this?
I think there's
America. We're very proud of this country, and we want it to be the Gulf of America.
This week,
awesome.
About 40 news organizations signed a letter urging the White House to reverse its policy against the AP.
Well, hopefully that goes through.
Here in the lab, it's been proven that Husky liners with our ProGuard formula are softer than the leading brand.
Get out of here. So one thing I did want to show you is my fiance introduced me to this little meme that's going around. So I'm just going to show you. I'm going to show you a couple images here. All right.
She kind of looks like a who.
All right, yeah. So check out the White House secretary.
All right.
And then check out AOC. Here's a better picture. Can you tell there's a little bit of a difference there? There's this meme of Republican makeup going around. And honestly, dude, it's so true. Like, if you look at the, I don't know much about makeup, but if you look at the foundation, it is just caked on there, dude. It looks like she's wearing a mask. And,
it's because Trump really made the trend.
I mean, listen. Listen, we're not about going after women.
Absolutely not, no.
But like,
we
can see who has better makeup. You know what I mean?
I'll also say this too. I'm not in the business of ever attacking any women, but these new White House chief of staffs, they're after you. They're after your vote. I try to tell people all the time, this doesn't even sound real, but this is the birth certificate.
Oh, it's called the SAFE Act.
SAFE Act, thank you.
Yeah, there might be SAVE Act. Oh yeah, there it is.
I mean, again, what they can try to hide it behind as much jargon as they want. If you want, I can put it up onto the screen. But the problem is with the SAFE Act is that if you don't have a name on your birth certificate that matches the one on your ID, you won't be able to vote, which disenfranchises not only married women, but it's also going to disenfranchise...
I don't think this is it. It might be the SAVE Act. Yeah, it's the SAVE Act. I'm sorry. Yes, so you have to present proof of U.S. citizenship. Individual applies to register to vote, provides document proof of U.S. citizenship.
I don't know if it's this. Here, let me look it up real quick.
I think it is this.
you have to either use your passport, which most Americans don't have their passport, or you have to have a birth certificate matching your legal name. And also, it's going to be harder to get your passports nowadays. So,
yeah, they're basically requiring you to provide the birth certificate, and they can invalidate your vote if the name on the birth certificate doesn't match the name on your ID.
And who does that affect? The groups they're already attacking. They're already attacking women with the abortion bills. They're already attacking trans people by outright saying that they're not real, that we don't respect their gender. And, you know, it's more solemn attacks to these people. And, you know, how much lower can you go than taking away someone's voice? You know, for the party that always, you know, speaks about freedom of speech and, you know, the rights of the people, it's crazy to me that they have always been the party of anti-unions, the party of anti-protest, the party of anti-voters' rights, the party of voter suppression. And the hypocrisy runs so deep within that party, they're blind to it. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but honestly, this is some of the biggest and nicest news that I've seen as of late. This did blow my mind a little bit. I don't ever want to talk good about Ben Shapiro, but he did call out something. You know, we were talking about before, like, how long is this?
Are you really the last person to find out about this skip out?
Not that. We'll just watch it short. Let's watch this really quick.
So President Trump spent the day wrecking Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. He suggested he was a dictator who had started the war and was responsible for pretty much all of the ills in this war. Let's be clear. Zelensky is not a dictator. He did not start the war. None of that is accurate. What is accurate is that we all know how this war is going to end. And here's where Joe Biden signally failed. By misleading Ukraine, by slow-walking aid to Ukraine, President Trump has made clear what the deal looks like. Russia's going to get to keep Donbass. They're going to get to keep Crimea. And Ukraine is going to get security guarantees. We know that this is where this is going. Anything that facilitates an end to the war in that direction is a positive development. Anything that inhibits that is a problem. Meanwhile, the Defense Department is talking about...
I mean, again, imagine that we're losing a portion of our country. How many of you would think that's acceptable for all the people that are trapped inside that are also not allowed to leave? Your family members. Imagine if California got taken by a foreign nation tomorrow, and they were like, sorry, California's ours, and everyone that's inside that used to be your people, your neighbors, the people that you loved and looked out for, too bad. They're ours now. Not only are we not going to treat them good, they are second-class citizens. Who is signing up for this? And again, these people think that they're doing the correct thing inside the trolley problem. No, you are going to lead to more deaths, more unjust treatment. And again, they want to talk about the failures of Biden. We are now literally seeing Trump suck up as close as he humanly can to Putin.
Yeah.
Possible 8% cuts this year, next year, for the next 5 years or so. If we're talking about getting rid of golden toilets, I'm all for it. If we're talking about weakening in any way America's military forward posture, that seems like a strategic mistake with the rising China.
Well, hey, even Ben Shapiro thinks that Trump's foreign policy is leaving a very open roadmap for China, you know, and again, you cannot blame him. You just can't. Any one of us right now are feeling nervous about what the potential applications of Trump's administration is going to look like onto the world stage, and it's just looking bad. And not even to mention foreign news, we also have the destruction of the federal worker here.
Would you mind if I grabbed another water for myself?
Yeah, go for it.
Yep. Sorry to put you on the stream by yourself.
No, you're good. Now that David's gone, let's talk a little bit of shit. Let's get this stream banned, guys. I guess while David is gone, we maybe have something pretty cool on the horizon. I don't want to speak too much about it. Thank you, Brock. We will turn down the music. How is that sounding? Is that a little bit better, or is that still really loud? Thank you again for letting us know. But yeah, in terms of big news, we have another Florida state senator that we might be getting an interview with. And it's super exciting to us. There's absolutely no telling if we will get it, but we just reached out to the office today. They sounded very, very, very receptive. Awesome. You can hear us better. Thanks for stopping by the stream, by the way. We appreciate it. But yeah, hopefully we end up getting the interview, and if we do, it'll be really exciting. Senator Davis has actually provided just a little bit of hope here in Jacksonville, Florida. She is currently trying to repeal the 6-week ban that was placed on abortions here, and it's currently causing a lot of women to die. This was just a little while ago, but
oh wow. Yeah, so Senator Davis, in a statement, she said that she represents the 57% of voters that voted yes on Amendment 4. For those that don't know, Amendment 4 was on the ballot in November. That was to put the right to abortion in the Florida Constitution. And in Florida, a bill needs to receive 60% for a vote to pass. So just shy of that 60%, we got to 57%.
Oh, this is not even what I was talking about, but this is awful. Just another news story. Things continue to get greater and greater here in Jacksonville.
And that's October 2022, and that's after the repeal of Roe v. Wade.
Right.
And you're just going to see more and more stories like that.
I believe there was one from 2024. Let's see if I can find it really quick.
Why does our camera look out of focus?
Oh yeah, this is it right here.
Try to put the camera back in focus. It looks really blurry.
How old was the girl? It doesn't say. But yeah, an adolescent patient came into Jacksonville Planned Parenthood seeking an abortion for a pregnancy that she said was the result of incest. According to Dr. Shelley Teen, a provider at the clinic, the middle school-aged girl wasn't able to get an abortion in Florida because she was past 15 weeks.
Wow.
This is heartbreaking to physicians, as healthcare providers, TN said during a press conference this last week. To not be able to provide that service because of a restriction for a patient is such a terrible and violent situation. It is horrible. Planned Parenthood then helped the patient leave Florida to get an abortion. Planned Parenthood did not disclose where the patient traveled to for the abortion, nor her exact age and whether or not she was local to Jacksonville. It is a shame that such a powerful organization like Planned Parenthood has to literally underground railroad people out of their state. I mean, this is ridiculous.
It's not an exaggeration either.
No, and you want to know how much of a non-exaggeration it is.
Oh God, I know where you're going with this, and it's. I did not know where you're going with this. I thought you were going with the Texas highway thing.
That is also terrible, but I mean, yeah, that's people trying to leave the state. South Carolina anti-abortion bill allowing the death penalty for abortion.
Yeah. What happened to two wrongs don't make a right? I thought that was your whole argument with the incest and shit, dude. What happened to that?
But 3 wrongs. Three wrongs make it even.
Yeah. Two wrongs don't make it right, but three, goddamn it, that'll make it right. That's fucking crazy.
Now, I don't want to be a spreader of disinformation. This isn't going to pass. Nor do I think that the GOP expected to pass. What they do want this to do is they want you to get used to seeing bills like this. They want to get to the point where you see a bill like this almost every day. Right? Yeah. To the point where you go, anti-abortion bills are normal. And even you might go, well, hey, I'm not for the extreme death penalty, but I am for locking them in prison.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is an overall goal of the Trump administration.
3 lefts make a right.
Yeah, 3 lefts make a right. There is an overall goal of the Trump administration to whittle the left down, to just bombard them with bad news after bad news after bad news until we are just forced into submission. But that's why things like going to protests and contacting your senators and making your voice heard are so important, because it lets people know that you're not the only one that has these ideas. You're not the only one that's seeing the news every day and just feeling like crap because of what's happening.
And I'll tell you too, I know a lot of people watching probably care about local politics and whatnot that we cover, but you know, it is shockingly easy to make a difference. And you might not feel like you make a huge difference by going on to a march or protesting or yelling in a crowd. But yeah, I promise you do. Every one of those people there feels better with you there. And, you know, the next big thing is, like you said, calling your local representatives it's something that people probably think is very difficult. And, like, so many hoops that you jump through. Just today, I made a call to a representative, and, you know, we got on the phone with their advisor almost immediately. And all of them just have a public phone number. Like, it is ridiculously easy to do, and it's worth your time. If it's something you care about, even if you have a Republican senator or a Congress member inside your state, it doesn't really matter. You know, you might just still get something through, and at the very least,
and you're part of their constituency.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the point, is that they represent you. And so when something is happening in your government that you don't like, you have a responsibility to contact your representatives and let them know, hey, this is not good, what's happening.
Yeah.
I had something else I was going to say, but I forgot, to be honest.
Well, how about just something a little bit more? We were talking about the destruction of the federal worker a little while ago, but speaking of the destruction that Trump's administration is bringing, I don't know if you've heard of this, but have you heard about the privatization that's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very clear goal of the right now is privatization. We see it with schools, with the vouchers that they want to give to private schools with taxpayer money. And now we're seeing it with Trump and the United
FAA
States.
And the Postal Service.
Yeah, the FFA and the United States Postal Service. He basically wants to get rid of them.
Yeah, so Elon on X wrote that SpaceX would be more than willing to take over the FAA's responsibilities, and Donald Trump also just released something saying that he wants to get rid of the U.S. Postal Service. Now, whether or not the U.S. Postal Service makes money, you know, there's a lot of problems with the U.S. Postal Service.
And the whole Elon FAA things, it goes a lot deeper because the FFA was or the FAA, was investigating Elon,
right,
for his space launches and their environmental impact.
As was USAID.
And now he just gets to completely defund and take over their responsibility, so he can send up as many rockets as he wants. It's the same reason they want to get rid of the IRS too and defund them and get rid of taxes, because they don't want to pay taxes.
Right. And then, oh man, did you see what Elon said about the IRS? I can't remember exactly what the other organization he wanted to use was, but he wants to get rid of the IRS and make this new taxing organization, the ORS. And anyway, it's basically just not going to target them as much.
Wow. And you know, all this goes to show that the Trump administration is an administration by billionaires for billionaires. And I just wanted to show you this. I listened to this earlier this week. Bernie Sanders was in Nebraska, and he delivered a really good speech. It is 38 minutes, but I'll skip toward the end here.
Begin by thanking all of you. Different type of discussion. We'd say, well, we're really poor.
And just a quick note, look how powerful this image is that we're looking at. Fight oligarchy. I don't know how it is that our Democratic Party is so behind an almost 80-year-old man, but he understands what the people want to see. That's why this crowd is packed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Our young people should not go deeply into debt benefits. At starvation, wages, we've got to raise.
There you go.
And when we look to the future, we must understand that health care is a human right, not a privilege.
It's a human right, ladies and gentlemen.
And we have got to end the disgrace of being the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right.
Get the facts, man.
In America, millions of our people should not have to work 2 or 3 jobs at starvation wages. We've got to raise that minimum wage to a living wage at least $17 an hour.
Yes, sir.
And really, that's just a start.
That really is just a start. I mean, some places like probably in LA, I mean that $17 an hour would not cut it.
But it's better than you getting paid $7.25 somewhere inside some terrible ass warehouse or whatever. I know that state minimum wages have weird laws and everything, but again, it is good that these things are increasing. And the thing is that's so funny about it too is the red states are the ones that disagree with it the most. That's where it benefits you guys the most. Like $17 in Alabama, that goes hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and particularly because those red states are states that do not have their own enforced state minimum wage. I mean, if you look at a map here of states without minimum wage. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, you look at this map here. I mean, look at how much. That's 2025, sorry. Yeah, states with federal minimum wage. Okay, states with minimum wage below. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Look at that red and purple down there.
I mean, red shouldn't even exist.
Red should not even exist. But, I mean, look at that.
And again, look at the states that it's affecting, too. Those states are, no offense if you're from there, guys, those are the ass end of America.
I mean, here we are right next to them, we must be the taint.
I mean, say what you will about Florida, but we kind of like the dick and balls. But, but no, Florida, at least we have a decent enough GDP, and it's because a lot of people want to move here. So because we have high property tax, we have a lot of tax for our schools, and we have some decent enough programs that fund college pretty well, like the Sunshine Program.
Oh, but we can get into that because that's more stuff that's being ruined by the right.
And I'll be honest, too.
DeSantis wants to get rid of property taxes.
Nice.
So that's super cool.
There went more school funding. Awesome.
UNF has lost funding.
Yep.
Yep.
Also, if any of you guys are going to college right now, or you have any friends that are going to college that are, in college thanks to racial grants, I'd be scared for them. Those grants may be reversed.
No degree for you, man.
Yeah, I mean,
that's DEI.
Yeah. We don't want Something I used to say when I was on the right, actually, something that me and my brother, he really kind of drilled this into me because I had this idea that engineers that's where it was going, right? You needed to be an engineer. Everyone needed to be an engineer. It was sort of a flawed thought process, obviously. But at some point, a family member of mine goes, we should never prevent someone that is smart enough to be an engineer for the reason of money. You doing that is preventing your society of more advanced people that you'd want to seek, right? And that blew my mind when I was a conservative, and now it is so true. It's again, how are you going to say that you want production and you want the smartest and you want the brightest here in America, and then you don't give people opportunities? If you're only coming from a specific batch of wealthy people, these are people that don't have that drive, that they need to become successful even, and I think that's one of the worst parts about capitalism is that, some people have to literally struggle and, and fight against the current and all, but
I think that's why the Democratic Party needs a populist, an economic populist candidate, really, because what the left wants to see, and I don't speak for the left, but I think a lot of people on the left want to see better access to healthcare, if not free healthcare.
Yeah.
They want to see cheaper college so that that way they can afford to.
If not free college.
If not free college. If not free college, to better themselves, to get better jobs. They want to see the housing crisis solved. They want to see minimum wage go up. You know, they want to see better
to a livable wage.
Yeah,
not a minimum wage. That's okay.
Yeah, and they want to see workers' rights, and I think that's where we need a president to really focus on, is making sure that the life of the everyday American is easier.
Yeah.
You know, and there's this idea on the right that we want a smaller and smaller federal government. Well, you know, what happens when you go too small? You get a dictator.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing with this Trump administration.
Hey, thanks again for stopping down, Brock. It was good talking to you, man. We hope you enjoyed it. I 100% agree with you. You know, something I recently had my mind changed on, actually, was that we might not need a populist. You know.
Oh, really? You disagree?
No, I agree. I agree 100% now that we do need a populist. There's this old adage where it goes, if someone is going to, you sign up for a fist fight, and you show up for the fist fight, and the other guy brings out a knife and he stabs you. Hey, I mean, you know, shame on him. He whipped out the knife and he stabbed you that time. But then he offers you another fist fight and you show up unarmed. Well, that was kind of on you. You know what I mean? Like that.
Right.
I'm not saying that you should have, attacked the guy or whatever, but at the very least, you should have done something more to defend yourself, if not even show up for the situation. It's not fair, right? You should have brought a knife. Or, if you really wanted to be domineering, you should have brought a gun, right? Where, again, like, these issues would never have been a problem. But the problem is the Democrats keep on walking face first into the same, knife, and we go, well, there's nothing we could have done about it. They bring a knife every time. Mm-hmm. We got to start bringing a sword, man. We got to start doing the same thing they're doing, if not more effectively than they do it. Because, everything that the Republicans do, we can do better as Democrats. More people are Democrats. If you think their grassroots messaging is impressive, guys, if 1/3 of Democrats decided tomorrow, I'm going to start doing grassroots stuff, I'm going to start doing door knocking, we'd be the most expansive party you've ever seen.
Yeah, and I mean, we see that with AOC tweeted a little while ago about running for local office. Hang on. Awkward.
That one's from a day ago. Far left.
Yes, this is what it is. It may not be cool or hip in some circles, but we legitimately need to do a massive amount of people to. We genuinely need a massive amount of people to run for office. Flood the school boards, council, county seats, state legislators, Congress, etc. Big changes at the top happen when the ground shifts at the bottom, and that can start now. And I think you're exactly right. People need to start at the grassroots. They need to be doing things in their city, like AOC is saying, because that ground shifts at the bottom.
And again, it's something that conservatives have done for the last 70 years that unfortunately Democrats neglected. And I think we're feeling a lot of the effects of it now, because whereas people like Ron DeSantis are household names here in Florida, I couldn't name you 3 other Democratic governors besides Eric Adams, who is the worst Democrat on the planet. That's Democrat in name alone.
Yeah.
Bro's a dino.
Oh, that's so dumb. Dinos and rhinos.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I think it's a massive existing problem. And, I was going to say this too. Just reading this AOC tweet kind of reminds me. I have some friends in real life that are in local government. And I'm not going to list out any names, obviously. I don't want anyone to get in any trouble. But they are no longer going to be seeking any position of power here in Florida. And their boss just got fired. And they have been in the second seat there for a while to be moved up politically, and instead they just installed some Trump loyalist. Now, my friend is an independent, and he actually voted for Donald Trump. And again, no offense to you if you happen to see this, but he is a conservative. You know what I mean? By all extensive means, he is a conservative. You know what I mean? He supports almost all the rhetoric. He supports everything, right?
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, hey, you got what you voted for.
Right. But the thing that is heartbreaking to him is like, I've worked for the city for the last 10 years. You know what I mean? I busted my ass getting all these college degrees necessary and everything, and he feels like he's being left in the dust by his party because, well, really, he is. And I think a lot of people are going to realize now that you either were with Trump or you weren't, and you were either with the Democrats or you weren't, because I don't think a lot of Dems are going to forgive people that are openly supporting the Trump campaign, and I don't think any Trumper is going to forgive you for saying anything negative about Trump. Like that Ben Shapiro video, I guarantee you will bite him in the ass come a couple of weeks from now. And he was pretty soft on Trump even.
Right. I mean, it could be just like Shapiro's take on January 6th. Right. I mean, when January 6th first happened, he was like, "Oh God, this is bad. This is terrible.
It's an
insurrection." And then what happened like a week later? He completely flipped on it.
Ben Shapiro actually has this. He has this quote from a debate that I watched him in, and he goes. He's asked about Trump and his insurrectionist sort of attitude, and he goes, "Look, January 6th was really bad, and it might have been a political grab for power, but I have faith that the guardrails are going to stay out and going to hold back his power." And the debater asked him, "Well, what happens if he attacks these guardrails?" And he goes, "That's impossible." Well...
It's not impossible.
It's not impossible. We're living it, right?
We had Donald Trump and Elon Musk saying that the legislative branch and has no control over what the president can do. We have the Supreme Court that's saying that the president is basically a king.
And criminally immune.
I mean, and then Trump himself calling himself a king. So, these guardrails, they are under attack. And the American people are under attack. These federal workers, they are everyday Americans. We heard from one of the people at the protest, their mom was a federal worker. And she was a Republican, and people in her own party were attacking her for being a federal worker.
And apparently, this is according to the guy that we interviewed, but he said before she died, she said that she would have never thought that her own party would hate her this much. I mean, again, these are people that are, for the most part, your constituents. You know what I mean? Your local politicians are the people that are fighting for your rights, depending on what side of the political aisle you walked in on. You know what I mean? If you voted in a Republican constituent, you think they're fighting for the good for you. You know what I mean?
Right, and I mean it's like the Consumer Financial Protections Bureau. That was not an unpopular.
Of course not.
Branch of the government. Branch is not the right word, but.
Faucet, even.
It wasn't an unpopular program. It was a very popular program across both parties because nobody wants their money to be taken from them. And that's what the Consumer Financial Protections Bureau was all about. They were lowering your overdraft fees. They were making sure that your loans were fair, and disclosed. And with that gone, it basically opens the doors for companies to take money out of your account. That's not even an exaggeration. You overdraft your card by $3.50. Congratulations, that's a $35 overdraft fee.
Yeah.
You accidentally swiped your card twice? That's a $70 overdraft fee.
Unions weren't an unpopular thing either, and we're watching those be ripped out. there's unions of all colors, guys. There's teachers unions, police unions, and a union doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing by itself. There's unions that I don't really like the police union, for instance, right?
Right.
But I mean, unions are a worker's right that is supposed to protect you, and these guys that are ripping them apart, you know, it's just not for you. On the same note too, on the same note too, you were talking about all these things were not unpopular. You know what else wasn't unpopular? It was U.S. aid. And but the thing is, a lot of people just didn't know about a lot of these mechanisms of government beforehand. I don't know about you, but like before U.S. aid became a talking point, I wasn't that familiar with it. You know what I mean?
And you know that is a good point. Honestly, I mean, this might make us sound a little bit uninformed, but a lot of these things I'm learning about the federal government are because Trump is destroying the government.
And again, it's things that you've always taken for granted. Right? You go, the U.S. helps poorer countries because we are the backbone of the goddamn world. And what a powerful sentence that is. What a position we have the right to be in, right? We don't have the right, but what a privilege we have of being able to go, we have the money. We help you, and in response, you essentially are one of the U.S.'s allies. Does everyone listen all the way? No, but everyone does their best to stay inside the U.S.'s interest. And now you're going to see a lot of countries directly pulling away from the U.S. interest, like the EU, saying they don't know if they're going to be our trade partner anymore. Canada is saying that after these 4 years are done, they might have to completely relook at our relationship. Mexico, they just got threatened to be drone striked by Elon Musk. Because they just said the cartels were terrorists, that allows them to do drone strikes inside their borders. You know, and we're probably coming up on the end of the stream, but you know, just another thing to leave inside you guys' heads is you know, Guantanamo Bay is being used as a concentration camp. We're sending some people that are accused of no other crime than being illegal immigrants, and you know, it should put stark alarm bells inside your head.
Yeah, and I mean, on that,
Whoa.
Yeah, so this is a sheet to help people know their civil rights when interacting with ICE agents.
I recommend going to check it out and read it. We're not going to go over the whole thing on stream, but one thing I definitely will say, one right that I know off the top of my head is, unless they have a warrant that is signed by a judge, they don't have a right into your home.
Right. So, I mean, we can read through these quick bullet points here. Stay calm, don't run, argue, or resist the agent, even if you think your rights are being violated. Don't lie about your status or provide false documents.
You have the right to remain silent, and you don't have to discuss your citizenship status with immigration agents, police, or any other officials. Anything you tell an agent or officers can't be used against you in the immigration proceedings. If you wish to remain silent, you must let the law enforcement know. I wish to remain silent and stop speaking after that.
And if you are not a U.S. citizen and an ICE officer asks for your papers, you must show them if you have them with you or indicate you wish to remain silent.
If an ICE officer asks you if they can search you, you have the right to say no. Agents don't have the right to search you or your belongings without your consent or reasonable basis to conduct the search.
Yeah, so basically, don't say anything to them. Don't let them in your house if they don't have a warrant signed by the judge. Yeah, it's really important to know your rights, and make sure that, you know, if you know anyone that might be affected by these ICE raids, share this with them. Make sure that this is known, because it could save a lot of people.
I also wanted to add one more thing too, before we head out on that same note, which is, I feel so extreme mentioning this all the time, but in Nazi Germany, it was a crime to hide Jews. It was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could be directly punished for it. You know, people were upset at the time. Even in Germany, they went like, well, why would you hide these like criminals against the state from the government? You know what I mean? And it's the same thing here, guys. You know, you can think whatever you want. You can listen to whatever justification they make you. But at the end of the day, this is a mass culling of people. And this is something the U.S. has historically been against. And, you have your opportunity to show what you would have done during that time in the world, during World War II. And all I gotta say is, make sure that you pick the right way. Me and David are probably about to hop off. It was a really good stream. Super chill vibes. Thanks for everyone for popping out. And up until next time, guys, peace.
I was late on it, but peace.
We'll do it one more for you guys. Peace. Be safe.